Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys have several question marks on their roster, but one area there is no reason for concern is in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Dallas has the best offensive guard duo in the NFL, and they also have the league's best duo along the defensive line. The Cowboys have perennial All-Pro Micah Parsons, arguably the best defender in football, and four-time Pro Bowler DeMarcus Lawrence, who was an All-Pro in 2017. Parsons and Lawrence are tasked with pressuring opposing teams' quarterbacks, and according to Pro Football Focus, they do so better than anyone else in the NFL. Competition is fierce here. One could make a strong case for either Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith of the Cleveland Browns or T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith of the Pittsburgh Steelers to be in the top spot. Gordon McGuinness of PFF writes, Parsons earned a 93.7 PFF pass rushing grade in 2023, racking up 106 quarterback pressures from 532 pass blocking snaps. Opposite him, Lawrence posted a 79.3 PFF pass rushing grade and was a phenomenal run defender, trailing only in PFF run defense grade 92.2. Parsons, who was drafted with the number 12 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, has never recorded fewer than 13 sacks in a single season. The 25-year-old former NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year has been named to the Pro Bowl and received All-Pro honors in each of his first 3 seasons in the league. He enters his 4th year with 213 tackles, 40.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, and 1 interception. Lawrence, meanwhile, has recorded 58.5 sacks throughout his career. The 32-year-old joined the Cowboys as a second-round pick out of Boise State in the 2014 NFL Draft. Cowboys could replace Dak with $150 million, 4-time Pro Bowl QB, says analyst. The Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott may very well ride into the sunset together with a lucrative new contract extension. It would not be the first time Prescott and the Cowboys had a lengthy negotiating period that eventually was resolved. Yet Prescott has also emphasized that he has control over his future. This is especially true thanks to a no-franchise tag clause, as well as a no-trade option in his current deal. All this means that Prescott could become a free agent in 2025, with Dallas receiving nothing in return. This is a less than ideal option for the Cowboys, especially given the alternative veteran quarterback options. ESPN's Bill Barnwell labeled Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr as potential veteran replacement starters for Dallas to consider in 2025. We already explored the Cousins trade idea, but there is a pathway where the New Orleans Saints release Carr next offseason. Carr still has 3 seasons remaining on a 4-year, $150 million contract. Yet the veteran becomes a much more appealing option if he is released rather than a player needed to be acquired via trade. Let's dive into how Cowboys fans should feel about Carr as a potential quarterback option. Cowboys fans are unlikely to be excited by replacing Dak Prescott with Derek Carr. It has become increasingly unlikely for a Cowboys quarterback to avoid being a polarizing player. If some Dallas fans are frustrated by Prescott, it is hard to imagine these same supporters would be wowed by Carr. The veteran does come with an impressive resume as a 4-time Pro Bowler with 4 straight seasons topping 4,000 passing yards. Yet, Carr has not been able to reach this mark in either of the last 2 seasons. Carr threw for 3,878 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, while completing 68.4% of his passes in 17 starts last season. Cowboys QB Dak Prescott's market value projects to be a 4-year, $212 million contract. Barnwell makes the argument that Carr is a reasonable option if Prescott bolts. Prescott is heading into the final season of a 4-year, $160 million contract and is likely heading for a significant raise. Spotrac projects Prescott's market value to be a 4-year, $212 million deal. If the Saints disappoint this season, they likely would end up moving on from Carr, who only has $10 million in guarantees left on his deal after this season. Barnwell detailed in a June 19, 2024 story titled, Dak Prescott's Cowboys Future, New Contract or Test Free Agency, they would struggle to eat the $40 million in dead money from his contract if they trade him after the season, but they could designate him as a post-June 1st release to free up more than $30 million in short-term space. That could come in handy if they decide to try to sign Prescott, Barnwell added. His ability to protect the football and avoid turnovers could appeal to the Cowboys if they plan on winning games with their defense, and they should be able to land Carr at about half the price of what they would pay Prescott Prescott on a new deal. If the Cowboys do end up being in the quarterback market, a more appealing option could be to re-sign Trey Lance and draft a quarterback to compete for the starting job. The available veteran options are likely to be a step back from Prescott. Cowboys predicted to move on from impact veteran after season. Longtime Dallas Cowboys veteran could be looking at his final season with the team, as Blogging the Boys' Matthew Holleran writes in his article listing 3 impact players who probably won't be with the team in 2025. He mentions defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence as one of those veterans. The 32-year-old has been a member of the Cowboys during his entire career, dating back to when he was selected with a second-round pick during the 2014 NFL Draft. However, Lawrence will be entering the final season of his contract in 2024, and Holleran argues that the 2024 draft selection of Western Michigan edge rusher Marshawn Kneeland will eventually push Lawrence out the door. Lawrence has been a great Cowboy during his 10-year tenure in Dallas, but his 11th season this fall will likely be his last, writes Holleran. The Cowboys spent their second-round selection in this year's draft on Western Michigan edge Marshawn Kneeland. The 22-year-old's best trait is his excellence in stopping the run, and he profiles very similarly to Lawrence, albeit much less polished. Why Cowboys could move on from DeMarcus Lawrence. Outside of the second-round draft selection of Kneeland, another argument that plays in favor of the idea of the Cowboys moving on from Lawrence is how Dallas needs money to sign star edge rusher Micah Parsons to a new contract. Parsons is arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, and his next contract could be worth up to $35 million annually, with Nick Faria of Sports Illustrated mentioning how Parsons could ask for a 5-year, $175 million contract. With Lawrence set to hit free agency after this season, Dallas will almost certainly slide Kneeland in at his spot, saving them considerable money at the position, writes Holleran. These savings could open up cap space to give fellow edge rusher Micah Parsons a long-term extension next spring. Considering Kneeland is a second-round draft pick, he's earning just $6.8 million across 4 years. His cap hit for this season is just $1.2 million before jumping to a little over $1.5 million for the 2025 season. By comparison, Lawrence, who is a 4-time Pro Bowler and former second-team All-Pro selection, is about to complete a deal where his cap hit is over $20 million for this season. Lawrence actually has the second-largest cap hit of any Cowboys player on the roster and has not earned less than $17 million per year since he played under his rookie deal. DeMarcus Lawrence remains a top player at his position. As Holleran mentions, it's not like Lawrence's play is declining with age. He was actually the second-best run defender in the NFL last season at the age of 31. That means that Lawrence's value and asking price will not go down much, barring a major decline during the 2024 season. The 2014 second-round draft pick was once again outstanding last year, playing in all 17 regular season games and being the second-best run defender in football, according to Pro Football Focus. Lawrence's PFF run defense grade of 92.2 was the second highest of his career, as was his overall defensive grade of 91.0, writes Holleran. Even if Lawrence remains a top defensive end for the 2024 season, that will actually work against the idea of him returning to the Cowboys for a 12th season in 2025.